Hello and welcome to today's edition of 600 Seconds of Trading. 600 Seconds of Trading is our daily market update, in which we in 10 minutes take a look at some key markets and talk about them, talk about levels to watch, talk about the potential action of other traders trading things like the euro and Bitcoin and crude oil and gold and the DAX 30. So that's what we're going to be doing in the next 10 minutes. We're also going to talk a bit about the ECB rate decision, which is up today. No change is anticipated, but you never know. And what is interesting as well is the fact that the euro is trading just above a key level. And obviously, we could easily take that out. I'm talking about the 120-155 level. Now, before we start, as always, I need to stress that trading financial markets unfortunately is risky and there's a genuine risk that we'll lose all of our invested money. And if you're new to this webinar, we host this webinar Monday to Friday here at the live trading room. As well, if you are on YouTube, you can follow us and get automatic notifications when we are live, but usually start at 9 a.m. sharp, Monday to Friday here at tradecaptain.com. As well, if you like this, don't forget to check out the technical analysis section. We have a new team member, Nathan Batchelor, and he is an experienced trader and used to trade for hedge funds and as well advise hedge funds, and he's sharing ideas here. So now you have Nathan, you have Yuri, and myself, Alejandro Zambrano, posting content in the technical analysis section. As well, if you're interested, we do have educational webinar coming up tomorrow at 3 p.m. London time. If you can't watch it, just register and you will usually have a link. If you don't receive the link, just send me an email about it at azambrano@tradecaptain.com. So A for my first name and then zambrano@tradecaptain.com. That is if you don't receive the video by say Monday. So check that out. That's under education and webinars. Now let's take a look at the markets, and we'll begin with the euro versus the USD. I'm using TradingView charts here. You can go to TradingView, or you can actually just find them yourself here on the charts. You have TradingView charts as well. And I can see that Antonio's live joining us today. So good morning. Thanks so much for joining us, Antonio. I hope you're having a good morning so far. Alright, so this is the euro versus the USD, and the market is trading just above this big pivot level, which is the 121.55 level. If we take that level out, this market is going to turn bearish, and we could decline maybe to 119.20, and not in one day, but maybe 2 days. And it would mark a major reversal. And as I've been saying over the last few days, because of the situation with the pound dollar going down, Aussie dollar going down, New Zealand dollar going down, dollar yen going up, well, it's quite likely really that the euro dollar as well is going to try to break the downside. And if we take it out again, maybe 120 initially, and then maybe 119.20, which is this level here from January 9. Now we have the ECB central bank rate meeting. In January they decided to reduce their quantitative easing. I think it was 30 billion euros per month, and in September they're anticipated to end this, maybe prolong it. Inflation has not been picked up. Now most people think that the ECB in general will try to maybe prolong them. Why? Because they tend to be over optimistic in regards to inflation. They tend to anticipate inflation to be really strong when it's actually usually isn't. So it should be dovish. Well, we also know, the German DAX has moved down. A lot of the economic leading indicators from the US, Eurozone, like the IFO and the SEV index, PMIs have all moved down lower and suggesting slower economic growth. However, though, it's not always that the ECB actually pays attention to these levels, and they tend to be a bit stubborn, and I don't think they have a major reason to communicate anything really new this time around. So I think it's going to be a fairly neutral meaning from them, and I think that could be actually interpreted as hawkish. So if they don't come out and say, well, we are afraid that inflation is not going to reach the target, we think economic growth has slowed, if they don't come out and say things like that, then I suspect we're going to have a bit of a a bullish push here, and it's an issue because we're so close to support. So imagine that we break lower like now, and then we have those news, then the market could easily rally to the upside. In fact, watch 122.50, take that out, and I think we can head up maybe to 124, and again take this level out, we can go down. But unfortunately, I don't have a crystal ball to be able to sort of read into what's going on with the ECB and their statement. I do suspect though that it could be slightly hawkish. They tend to have that. They're not easily sort of moved by data in the short term. They tend to have a slightly longer term view. It's not like Mark Carney from the Bank of England that usually takes a very short view on market on things. So I think they're gonna be slightly hawkish, and that could push things slightly upwards. So if you're trading this, what should we do? Well, I'm gonna be observing today, and if you read the statement, I mean, you look at the headlines of the statement, you might have a bit of an edge. So if they were saying it's not hawkish and we break down, then obviously one could potentially sell here with stops on the other side. But I think it's better just to wait until the dust settles. And then maybe tomorrow look to sell a rebound or something like that, if it actually breaks. Here is Bitcoin. Now Bitcoin and a lot of the other crypto markets have been declining. I don't know if you saw it, but on Trade Captain CPT, so the Trade Captain handle, I published this video. I don't think a lot of you guys saw it because not a lot of you follow this account. So I suggest that you follow this account. It's Trade Captain CPT, and it's a 10-minute video where I talk about what's going on in the markets in general. And what I did say yesterday is that we're having these pullbacks, and Bitcoin is threatening a short-term bullish uptrend. And if it trade below it, then we might end this uptrend. And because the way other markets look like, I suspect that they may have peaked, at least in the short term. It looks to me, I mean, if we push below here, I think we have maybe a short-term high here, and then we're gonna be trading between this high and this low, and obviously I think probably down, up, and down. Take a look at a Ripple chart, and you'll understand what I'm referring to. For now, though, again, I'm still bullish, though. I'm even long myself, so until I get stopped out. Here's crude oil. Crude oil is obviously bullish. The market bottomed out here, as we said, and I reduced my key level to 66.93. Now this could go up, and it could easily take out the high. We're dealing with an uptrend at the end of the day, but I have a feeling that we're working on a short-term high, much like this one or much like this one, and I suspect that we're going to have a bigger correction at one point, and I think that could be triggered potentially by the break of 66.93. So if we watch this level, I think we could potentially go down, potentially up, and then potentially lower. Okay, so you wanna watch that. Okay. For now, though, I'm bullish. Here is the price of gold, and gold. If you wanted to buy it, everybody was very enthusiastic here a few days ago. Now, as you know, everybody's pro-dollar. And I mean, the dollar is making headwinds or making good progress in a lot of markets, in particular, against the euro, the pound, the Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, the dollar yen. So, we need to be careful here, but this is a good opportunity if you're looking to get involved. Technically, the trend is bullish above the low, and we're not necessarily extremely oversold, but the market should look to bottom out here. I think if you look at the 4-hour, it is slightly oversold, as you can see, and I suspect this market could potentially head a little bit lower, but I wouldn't really be I'm not necessarily buying here. There are other stuff. If you check out the technical section on Trade Captain, you know what I'm watching. I made that quite clear, I think 3 days ago. German DAX bottomed out, well, looks to bottom out at least. I think it could head up to the high. If we take out the high, things turn bullish. Take out the low, things can turn bearish. Very straightforward. Looking at the S&P and the Nasdaq 100, they declined Now there's not too much. I'm not getting like a good buy signal, so I look at the technicals, and yeah, the technicals in the S&P and technicals in the Nasdaq, they all look good. But the fear and greed index from CNN is a very good index, and I use it when I try to buy dips in stocks, and the index is not oversold at all. It's at 40, and if it would have been at 20, I would probably been buying the S&P 500, but it's not. So because of that, I'm cautious. I'm careful. I'm not saying that the Nasdaq and the S&P is gonna, collapse, but I'm not saying it's gonna collapse. I mean, in fact, if we want to do anything here, it's more of a buying opportunity more than a selling opportunity. This is your daily chart, and the market is bullish about 2,528, and then you have this low here, which is the one I'm actually focused on, which is 2547. And if you take a simple fit from the low to the high, you see we corrected 50%. We can easily go down here again, but again, I'm not because the fear and greed index is not oversold, I don't really want to be a buyer here just yet. Instead of what I'm doing, I'm just focusing on this downtrend, or downward sloping trend line. And at one point we might take that out and bottom out here. So when the short-term trend turns bullish, I might do something here. I think eventually we're going to swing to the upside. I spent yesterday night reading up, and there's a lot of bad economic data lately. I don't disagree with that. That's why we're having these declines in stocks. But if you look at in grand schemes of things, most economies are doing well, and they're in fact a bit above their potential. You have inflation, which is low. I mean, it's relatively low in most countries except the UK. So a lot of central banks are raising interest rate, but not necessarily aggressively. You have, of course, the ECB, they are reducing sort of quantitative easing. So what's happening now, though, is that the macro fundamentals need to support the economy as ECB reduce quantitative easing, or get rid of it totally. So I think at the end of the day, it's going to be wobbly, but the market, economy, the world in general is good. So I don't anticipate any sort of recession or anything like that. So if we have that in mind, like, do you think honestly that friends that or somebody's gonna lose their jobs, or the local shop down the corner is gonna close down? No, I don't. I think most people can agree that that's not the case. At least maybe I'm in London, so it's a little bit of a bubble here. I can tell you though, it's almost impossible to get to work. There's so many people trying to get to work using the underground system. And there's no point taking a taxi, because it's gonna a journey that takes 10 minutes on the tube, it takes you 40 minutes on a taxi, or a car. So it's busy. And with that in mind, I think we can eventually head to the upside. Okay, good. I think we spent more than 10 minutes. Let's see now if we have any questions before we wrap things up. If you like this presentation, don't forget to come back here every day, Mondays to Friday. Good morning, Juan. Thank you so much for joining. And we have Antonio here as well. Good morning to you guys. I hope you're doing good. So it seems that we don't have any question, which is fine. If you like it, click here and then click here and click on the like button if you like it, of course. Much appreciated. Thank you so much. Mr. Greenbergs. He says, I appreciate your daily uploads, very interesting and helpful material. Yes, you're welcome. I've been doing this since 2006. I was actually looking at my trading history. We talked about it a few days ago here as well. There are different ways of approaching trading in general. Some people, they prefer being right often, make small gains, consistent gains with small gains. In my case, I look for bigger gains, but with that in mind, with those larger risk reward ratios, you know, you need to try, and that's interesting with trading in general. You try and try and try, and then a few of these trades are usually big and big enough to cover for all the losses, and sort of at least how I experience forex trading and trading in general. And I do think I do help people a little bit, at least with levels and things like that. So thanks much for acknowledging that. Okay guys, we're gonna wrap things up. Thanks so much for joining. Don't forget to smash that like button even if you're watching the recording, and thank you Juan, Antonio, and Anisis for joining us. So you know, I'm back tomorrow, but I'm not sure I'm gonna be in on Monday. I should be in on Monday, but I might take Monday off. I have some personal matters I need to deal with, but keep an eye on my Twitter at AlexFX00, and I'll let you know if I'm not in there. So just follow me there, and you'll see as well on Trade Captain as well if I'm gonna be live or not. Have a good day, and see you guys tomorrow. Thanks.